Good Sunday morning to you. Welcome into this special at-home edition of Seattle Seahawks Today, powered by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones here with you. Thanks for joining us. On today's show, we are going to break down the latest injury report for your Seattle Seahawks heading into tomorrow night's game against the Detroit Lions. Some big details to get to. I know I may be off today, but that didn't stop us from wanting to catch up to speed on everything you need to know. So hopefully you're enjoying your Sunday at home watching everybody else play. Maybe you're going to church today, whatever it may be. Hope you have a relaxing Sunday and you're ready for Seahawks football in primetime tomorrow night. Let's go ahead and get right to it of what the injury report looks like for the Seahawks. Let's start with the good news for Seattle here. Full participants include Kenneth Walker III with the oblique, Jonathan Hankins with the calf injury, Terrell Dodson with the shoulder injury, Anthony Bradford with the knee injury, Laken Tomlinson with the ankle injury, Derek Hall with the hip, Tyler Lockett with the thigh injury, Jake Bobo with the knee injury, DK Metcalf with the hand injury, Brady Russell with the shoulder injury, Kenny McIntosh with the hand injury, and Kayvon Wallace with the shoulder. Obviously, the biggest of those is Kenneth Walker with the oblique injury that's kept him out the last couple of weeks. Now, I'll say this. When it comes to Kenneth Walker, what I don't know the answer to is, all right, so he is going to play. We know that part. But what does his role look like tomorrow night? Is Kenneth Walker, as a full participant like he was on Saturday, does that equal Kenneth Walker back into the starting lineup and getting the majority of the workload? Or do they still use Charbonnet as the lead back and Kenneth Walker as the number 2 back to kind of ease him into things and fully catch him up to speed? I don't know the answer to that question. That remains to be seen when we find out tomorrow night as far as that goes. The other injuries. Let's get to the bad news now. Who's out? Boye Mafe with the knee injury, Byron Murphy II with a hammy, Leonard Williams with the ribs injury, he's out. Uchenna Nwosu with a knee injury, he's out. Jerome Baker with a hamstring injury, he is questionable there on that front. And then you also had Noah Fant and Pharaoh Brown with the toe injury to Fant and the foot injury to Noah Brown. Had them limited participants, but they are not listed as out or questionable for tomorrow night's games. That is the full injury report where things stand. We'll talk about where the Seahawks go from here and how they prepare accordingly for this matchup tomorrow with these key injuries. But let's ask you guys, are you worried about the Seahawks injury news heading into tomorrow night? You got two options here. Type Y for yes and for no. Way in the comment section, let us know what you think. Folks, this is why you subscribe to Seahawks Today. Even on my off day, a rare Sunday off in the football season, we're still bringing you content here on the channel because we wanted to catch up to speed first thing on Sunday morning with the Seahawks injury news. Folks, we're bringing you daily news and rumors. We're going to be live tomorrow night. Smitty's going to join me. Our hour-long pregame show begins at 4:15 Pacific time. So don't miss out on that. Seahawks and Lions coming up tomorrow on the channel. We will see you then. Subscribe now. If you can do me a favor for bringing you content even my off day like this, just simply hitting the subscribe button would go a long ways. That helps us grow and continue to bring you content here on the channel, support the work we're doing. Hit that sub button. Help us reach our next milestone. As right now, we are currently at a grand total, I'm pulling this up in real time actually, of 57,118 subscribers. I'd love to get to 58,000 next. Make it happen. Subscribe now for free. All right, so the injury situation, where the Seahawks go from here with the guys that are out. Let's start with this piece by piece. Boye Mafe out at the outside linebacker position with the knee injury. With Uchenna Nwosu also out, not quite ready to return yet, then we are looking at the Derek Hall show. It is going to be crucial for Derek Hall to have a big game, as well as Draymond Jones filling in those voids there at the outside linebacker positions. And Derek Hall had a breakthrough game against the Miami Dolphins with a career high of 2 sacks. Did a really good job of getting after the quarterback. This is going to be his time to shine there. I'm watching for Derek Hall to see what he can do. And Derek Hall, he was on the injury report himself with that hip injury. Still a full participant, though. So hopefully he's okay, good to go. But a little short-handed when it comes to those outside linebackers with not having Boye, not having Uchenna there just yet. We'll see if they get back next week. But to me, that's what I'm looking for is Derek Hall really step up into the fold there. Meanwhile, when you look at the defensive line, a little banged up, right? Byron Murphy with the hamstring, Leonard Williams with the rib injuries. Both those guys suffered those injuries in the first half against the Miami Dolphins last week and ultimately did not return in those football games. And here they are out, going to miss this one here. And, you look where this team goes from here with those, and you're very thankful that the Seahawks have depth on this defensive line. Now the depth's going to be tested, but now it's like, all right, Jaron Reed, what do you got for me? Jonathan Hankins, what do you have for me? You go on down the line here. The collective effort to step up and fill in those spots for those guys, because we've seen, folks, this isn't going to be easy to replace these guys overnight. Leonard Williams has looked fantastic to begin the 2024 campaign. And this is unlike Leonard Williams. Remember, he was the first player last season since the 1930s. Did I stutter? No, I did not stutter. First player since the 1930s to play 18 games in a regular season when he played all 17 plus 1, because remember, he got traded to the Seattle Seahawks from the New York Giants at the trade deadline after the Seahawks had already had their bye week and the Giants hadn't had theirs yet. So this is unlike Leonard Williams, who's been very dependable, very durable, to be out like that. So it changes up things for Seattle to go forward with this. So defensive line, I think that's a big concern as far as replacing those guys go, because then you factor in Byron Murphy. I spent all that time talking about Leonard Williams. Byron Murphy's been fantastic to start the season. And, you look at his snap count, and he's not, getting the snap count of, let's say, Leonard Williams necessarily. But his snap counts, we've seen the coaching staff put more and more trust in him, and that they see him, even if he technically doesn't start, he's treated like a starter, right, with how valuable he is to this defensive line. That's a tall task to replace 2 quality defensive linemen for a game like this. Now, the Jerome Baker front, with him being a questionable with the hamstring injury, this one I'm not as concerned about as I am the other ones here. Because we saw that the Seahawks had a really good showing from rookie Tyrese Knight last week, stepping in for Jerome Baker with what he was able to do. And then, you add in Drake Thomas as well. Mike Macdonald talked about earlier in the week that they feel pretty confident that Knight and Thomas are both worthy of playing time, that they both have played up to expectations of filling in that void with a Jerome Baker down. So Terrell Dotson's still your green dot. That doesn't change things when it comes to the play calling and getting the signals in, but not having Jerome Baker there, as long as you don't have another injury to, let's say, a Dodson or Knight, you get the idea, then you could manage for now. But I don't think it's the end of the world if you don't have Baker tomorrow night. We'll see ultimately how it all plays up. Who's the player that needs to step up for the Seahawks tomorrow night against the Detroit Lions? If you had to give me one player that comes to mind, who would it be and why? I'm looking for Jaron Reed. I want to see a big game from Jaron Reed tomorrow night with no Byron Murphy, no Leonard Williams. Let me know who you think it is. For continuing Seahawks coverage, subscribe now to Seahawks Today. We will be live coming up tomorrow night right here with our hour-long pregame show, and then we'll react to the game in real time. You will not want to miss it. Monday Night Football. Da-da-da-da. We'll see you then right here on Seahawks Stab. Tyler Jones, thanks for joining us.